You were not born to drift. You were not born to dim. You were born to carry the flame that has burned since the first human dared to defy darkness with light, since Prometheus gave fire to mankind so that we might rise, so that we might shape, so that we might remember that within us is something divine, that fire is not just warmth, it is not just passion, it is purpose, it is spirit, it is the force that whispers rise when the world says rest, it is the will that says go again when you've already fallen, it is the courage that says try again when everything says stop. Socrates once said the unexamined life is not worth living, and that flame inside you demands examination. It demands depth. It demands truth, not comfort, but clarity, not ease, but excellence. When you lose your way, you do not need a new path. You need to relight the fire. You need to return to that quiet certainty that your life means something, that your choices matter, that your struggle is not in vain. Look back, not to regret, but to remember. Remember who you are. Remember how far you've come. Remember the trials you've walked through and still breathed and still stood and still loved and still hoped. The fire has not gone out. It only waits for you to feed it again, to give it breath, with your commitment to give it fuel, with your virtue to give it form, with your discipline. You are the torchbearer. You are the flame keeper of this one sacred life. Do not live in shadows when you were born to illuminate. Do not bow to fear when you were born to blaze a path through it. Epictetus taught us that we are not things to be broken by circumstances. We are the ones who assign meaning to our lives, and the fire within us cannot be put out by storms only revealed when you are tired. Rest, but never put out your fire. When you are doubted, stand but never dim your light. When you are lost, pause, but never forget the direction of the inner flame. It does not scream, it does not rage, it whispers with power, it glows with patience, and it grows every time you choose truth over ease, virtue over vanity, purpose over popularity. The great philosophers knew that the soul is not built through applause, but through resistance, not by what flatters us, but by what refines us. Aristotle said that excellence is not an act, but a habit, and the fire within you is fed by your habits, by what you do when no one is watching, by what you choose when the choice is hard, by the way you return to your path again and again and again. And when you meet others whose fire still burns, stoke each other, feed each other, rise together, not in competition, but in companionship. For one torch may light 1,000 more and lose nothing of its light. This is your fire, your sacred inheritance, your ancient spark passed down through trial and time and truth. Do not let it die. Do not let it fade. Tend to it with care. Shield it with your choices. Feed it with your faith. Fuel it with your daily courage. The fire within you is not ordinary. It is eternal. And when it burns brightly, the world around you begins to see not just who you are, but what is possible. So rise again, keeper of the flame. Rise not with noise, but with heat, not with fury, but with light, and let your very life become a beacon. There is a mountain inside you, a peak that calls without words, a summit that lives not in the world, but in the soul, and its climb is not measured in steps, but in strength, in silence, in sacrifice. You were born not to remain in the valley, but to ascend, to rise in thought, to elevate in purpose, to breathe thinner air, where clarity lives and truth resounds, where the eternal whispers louder than the world. Heraclitus said, the soul is dyed the color of its thoughts. And if that is true, then every thought is a step, every reflection is a foothold, every moment of stillness is a grip in the great ascent of being, Climbing. The mountain of the mind means leaving behind the noise, not escaping the world, but transcending it, seeing through it, seeing beyond it, choosing what is true over what is loud, choosing what is right over what is easy. And in this climb, you will be alone, not lonely, but solitary, like the great thinkers who walked before you. For the heights of inner greatness are not crowded, they are not congested, they are clear, open, vast. Plato taught us that the highest form of knowledge is not information, but understanding. And the summit of this mountain is not data, but wisdom. It is not knowledge memorized, but truth, embodied to ascend. This mountain is to move inward and upward. It is to leave behind the ego, the rush, the comparison, the craving, and return to the soul, the breath, the virtue, the still power within every fear you face, every doubt you overcome, every truth you embrace, even when it burns, is a step upward, is a movement, higher, is a triumph over gravity. And what is gravity in this climb? It is the pull of distraction, the weight of fear, the anchor of approval, the stone of resentment, the chains of past wounds, and you let go, not all at once, but one by one, slowly, gently, bravely. The mountain will test you, it will expose you, it will strip away all that is false, until only the essential remains, until only the eternal remains, until you remember who you are and why you came. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. And so every obstacle in the climb is not a barrier, but a bridge, not a wall, but a teacher, not the end, but the path and the peak. The peak is not a place, it is a moment, it is a knowing, it is a breath of light when you realize that you are not your name, not your role, not your past. You are something ancient, something vast, something strong. You are a soul mid-climb, a being of flame and thought and purpose. And though the world may not see the mountain you are climbing, your soul knows your spirit, knows your silence, knows. And as you rise, you begin to change, not in appearance, but in presence, not in title, but in truth, not in wealth, but in wisdom. And that change echoes, it ripples, it reaches into the world, not with noise, but with grace. So climb, without rush, climb without doubt, climb with your eyes on the light and your feet on the truth. And when you stumble, let it be part of the ascent. When you fall, let it be your next foothold, because this is not a climb to impress. This is a climb to remember, to awaken, to transform. And at the peak, you will not boast, you will not shout, you will simply breathe and know, I have returned to myself. I have remembered what was never lost. I have become what I already was. The mountain of the mind stands within you, always ready, always sacred, always waiting. If you felt inspired by our journey through the Hellenic horizons, give a thumbs up, subscribe, and share your thoughts below.